What's that?
Courtney's already all over it.
I will.
We'll do it for your socials.
If you can try and keep still, because this floor is quite undulated.
I'll be very still.
All right, Carla, just your full name and the surf club you represent.
Carla Gilbert. Nearly said James in my married name. Carla Gilbert, and I'm in. Oh, which one shall I say? I'm in 3 at the moment.
It's all right, it's just an audio.
Surfers
so
Paradise.
All right, over to Carla.
Carla, how special would it be to have life-saving sport in the Olympic Games?
It would be, to have the life-saving in the Olympic Games would just be the ultimate pinnacle for our sport. Just to even say that, even to have that thought, it just brings goosebumps to me, because I know personally when I started out in surf life-saving, I didn't even really have that progression to even become an Ironwoman. So there was just this, watching the men compete and that thought of like, oh, I could do that, maybe I could match the men, to now have that thought of us to be in the Olympic Games as a sport. It just blows my mind that we've come this far in however 20, 30 years for us to be able to put ourselves on the map as a sport. It's just super, super exciting.
And you mentioned gender equity is really important, and the bid is gender equal. How important is that as well?
Our sport is very gender equal, from going down to training. You don't get many sports where there's males and females training together. You don't get many sports where they're sitting under the same tent, when they're competing at the same time, when they're sharing live TV space. I don't know any other sports that actually do that. So for our sport to be able to showcase that we are very gender equal with what we do, I think that's very unique to us, and I think that's something that we hold very special to us, and it just shows through the community that it's just one in all in.
And you've got a daughter that's involved in the sport now, racing in surf boats down the road there today. For the youth of today to have this opportunity, it would be amazing.
It would be amazing to have the opportunity with the youth today. I have two daughters, a 13-year-old who competed in the youth titles here last weekend, and another daughter down in the boats competing today, and to just even tell them how exciting it would be. I can even just see a little bit of a spark of interest with them going, oh my gosh, like this could be real, like this could be something that we could follow with our dreams, this could be our pathway. So I think a lot of that would come up if life-saving becomes into an Olympic sport. I think it'll just have those little pricks of interest with a lot of people, and I think, it'll just take our sport to the next level.
Great. Good.
Perfect.
Thanks, Carl.
Just your full name and tell us all about Pamela Anderson.
Trevor Hendy got a kiss on this cheek before the start of the race.
Has it been watched?
Oh, televised, yeah. That's why this cheek is so dirty. And
Trev, we ready? Trev, what would it mean to you to have life-saving sport in the Olympic Games?
oh, it's a huge thing. Look, surf life-saving to me is a sport of the heart. It's all about family and community. The kids start very, very young from green caps, and they look at that hero lineage, people above them, whether that's that age manager that they look up to, or right through to the under 17 or under 19 or open competitor. You might be in a surf club that has a bit of a legend in it in many different sports within surf lifesaving. So it creates this belief, that you can travel right through, you can be a good person, you can back yourself to get in and out of the ocean, but at the end of the day, you're in community service. So if that type of sport was to make it into the Olympics, I think it's really huge for surf lifesaving or lifesaving worldwide. But I also think it's huge for the Olympics, because it's probably, I don't know of any other sport at the moment that has that level of community support already, and that we actually volunteer our time to look after the community. So I think it should be like almost like a hero sport within the Olympics.
And you mentioned internationally, like how you've done a lot of work with international organisations, Baywatch and others.
Yes.
And like how important would it be internationally to have the sport included?
Internationally, when I first went to World Titles in '88, it was on Gold Coast, in the Gold Coast, and we went to 1990 in Germany, and of course all of Europe was easier for them to get there, and we we're just starting to build the World Championships. It now has 50 nations that compete in the World Games or the World Championships. But I overwhelmingly remember how serious we were as Australians, and I remember the Germans, the Dutch, the Spanish, the Italians, the French, singing songs, the colours, and how much they loved competing. And that's when I realised how worldwide our movement was. World life saving is a very big, important movement around the world. And I just think that to have an Olympic swimmer who can, part-time go, I'm going to swim actually for my local life-saving movement in France, for example, and race at the Olympic Games, it will change the sport of life-saving and the movement of life-saving worldwide. And I think that's a really big thing.
Nailed it. Thank you. And action. Kenny, you've been involved across Olympic sport and also in surf life-saving. Understanding the Olympic movement, how important is it for the Olympic movement to have life-saving sport involved?
It'd be incredible if it'd be.
I'll ask again.
Yeah. It'd be. You're going to ask the question?
Yeah. He can cut it up. He's a genius.
Yeah, sweet.
How important would it be for the Olympic movement and Olympic sports to have life-saving sport involved?
It'd be great to have the life-saving sport involved in the Olympic movement because it's an incredible community event that everyone can be involved in. We've got 80,000 nippers to start with, which is incredible. So they're going to aspire to be that Olympic athlete, but everyone's going to be involved somewhere. Even the ladies and the men cooking the barbecue on the weekend for all the nippers, the people carrying around the gear trailers around to all the events. Everyone's going to feel a part of this Olympic bid to be a part of the Olympic movement.
You've had tremendous success. Olympic gold medalist, 2 bronze medals, 5-time back-to-back Taplin relay winner. This is all built around the mixed teams event. How important is those teams events to you and to the entire movement?
Team events are incredible. Team events are incredible because it brings everyone together. It brings the community together. It brings the sport together. It brings the clubs, the nations, everyone together that's a part of it. And everyone wants to race. I'd rather win a team event every day of the week instead of winning an individual. I've been lucky enough to win both individual and team events, and some of the mates that I've have and some of the people that come up to us afterwards is incredible around what that team event actually meant to them. And whether you're winning or losing in that team event, you're being a part of it and part of that community.
And the humanitarian aspect, and we're here to save lives first and foremost, that's something unique.
Yeah, it's incredible. The first time I jumped into surf and into the life-saving movement was essentially to keep myself safe. And then that turned into saving lives. The high performance aspect and the racing aspect, that came. But first and foremost, I started to keep myself safe. Now I have 3 kids in nippers as well, and that's the reason that they're there, to keep themselves safe and to be a part of the community in and around them and to be mates with everyone that's there. Having an Olympic pathway for them is going to be incredible. Surf lifesaving itself in Australia has produced so many Olympians, not just in paddling, swimming, boat rowing, beach sprints. It's been a talent pathway for multiple Olympic sports, and now that there's a pathway for those athletes to stay in the sport and to do the one that they originally started with, doesn't mean they can't go off and compete in other sports, but it means that there is an Olympic pathway there.
Perfect, thank you. Thanks.
Wonderful.
You did well too.
You did very well.
Ambassadors were good.
And you led us into the...
Try to guide you in some sort of direction.
You drip fed the...
So you mentioned the Maroubra rescue. I tried to come over. I thought, I don't want to say it while Graham's talking about it. Just throw it out. You'll sort it out. You'll pick it up. All right. Looking at Grant, action. Okay.
Yay.
Cords, for you, you're the most recently retired athlete. What do you think? Brisbane 2032? Semi-retired, sorry, not...
Semi-retired. Oh, it'd be insane, absolutely. I get so excited. I get butterflies in my stomach when you talk about having the Olympics for our sport. It's the amount of talent and just on the beach at the youth and being here with, Carla Gilbert being my absolute hero growing up. It would just mean so much to not only the people involved, but the whole movement in general. And we deserve to be there. We've it's just like the athletes here that you can see behind me here, 3 times a day of training. We train just as hard as every other Olympic sport that's out there, and I think it'd be wonderful not only for us, but also for the Olympics Games as well. I think everyone wants us to be there, so this is our opportunity to show everyone that we do deserve to be there. And yeah, fingers crossed, but it's exciting that we are being looked at. I think that's wonderful.
And the humanitarian aspect of it, saving lives, comes first for us as a movement. And you witnessed that at the Nutrigrain Ironman and Ironwoman series at Maroubra, where there was a mass rescue the athletes had to do. Tell us about that.
Yeah, at Maroubra, as soon as we had, I think it was round 4 of the Nutrigrain Ironwoman and Ironman series finished, there was unfortunately a couple of people that got stuck in a rip, and there was a fair bit going on. It was about, I think it was about 10 to 15 people out there as well, and they had been sucked out fairly far. And as soon as all the athletes had finished, straight after their race, absolutely exhausted, they got out there on their boards, saved them, brought them in, and also made sure they were okay afterwards as well. And that's why we are such a special sport. We not only go out there and be athletes and kind of race for our, whether it's our team, our country, ourselves, but we're also looking after people who may come to the beach and they may be from overseas and not, I guess, as aware as what we are, and have been in nippers and being able to learn about just how the ocean, it can be tricky, and at times it can be unsafe if you're not too sure about it. So that's why we are so special.
Great, thank you.
Awesome.
Oh, she's bright out here.
All right, just your full name and your surf club you represent.
Christy Munro from Alexandra Headlands.
We're looking at Phoebe.
Oh, yep.
Action.
Christy, a historic day for life-saving, announcing their Brisbane 2032. What did you think when you found out?
Obviously, it was a huge feeling of emotion when we heard that we're putting a bid in for the spot for surf lifesaving. Growing up, obviously, on the Sunshine Coast, I had big dreams as a nipper of representing my country and attending the World Championships. We didn't have the opportunity for an Olympic dream, so I feel really excited for those future nippers who could be adding that Olympic dream to their goals and aspirations.
We've seen some of the best young kids here competing this week. For them to know that potentially surf lifesaving is a pathway sport, it must really mean a lot to you then, helping them to pave that way.
Yeah, I mean, our sport is so strong on its own merits. I think, no matter what's happening around the world, the sport of surf lifesaving is so strong with its numbers, and we can see that here at our Australian Championships. 8,000 competitors turn up to race, and so that's just, with our domestic goals and aspirations. So to know that there's an Olympic hope out there, I think would really give everyone that next level of excitement, something more to work towards, and potentially even keep some of our competitors in the sport for even longer.
It's a sport with a point of difference, obviously the community service side of things. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think every lifesaver who lines up on our beaches for competition does have that inner pride of knowing that when the competition is over, we all go back to our home beaches, we all volunteer lifeguard. A lot of people actually work in the emergency services on top of their voluntary lifeguard, whether it be the paramedics, the fireys, the lifeguards. So it does give a very special point of difference and something that we're all very proud to be a part of.
The red and yellow is so iconic with Australian culture, but on a world scale, what does it mean for those other countries to have that life-saving as part of their movement?
I think the announcement will be just as exciting for a lot of our countries around the world. Sometimes we know how strong our sport here is in Australia, but I think a lot of people are still surprised that over 50 countries compete at our World Championships, and so those other 50 nations will be just as excited as we are that yes, we love coming together and competing against each other at the World Championships, but it would be amazing to do that at the Olympic Games.
You've got 2 kids involved in surf lifesaving. Is it something that you think that they'll be working towards?
When the games were announced that it's going to be 2032, my 2 were like, oh, what sport could we pick? And now that they might not have to switch sports, they can continue. They love the beach, they love nippers. So yeah, they haven't really mentioned too much of it yet, but I'm sure it's planted a seed in the minds of lots of nippers around the country.
Awesome, that's it. Thank you.
Federation. Yeah.
A little bit back that way.
Back.
Oh no, sorry, come forward. Just rotate your. Yeah, that's it. That's right there. Cool.
Okay. Graham, exciting day in the history of life-saving sport. Tell us, what are we here to announce today?
It's an incredible day, one that really is going to define the future of life-saving sport around the world. Because today we're announcing our intention to bid for the 2032 Summer Olympics.
There's obviously a lot of steps and a lot of way to go, but tell us, the calibre of people that you've got assembled here today. The intention is to get the IOC to have the Olympics, surf lifesaving in the Olympics?
Well, it's actually the Brisbane Olympic Games organising committee that will make the decision.
Yep.
So what happened in Tokyo is that Tokyo put forward sports for the IOC to consider for inclusion. So we're going to concentrate all our efforts to ensure that BOCOG support our bid to be in the 2032 Olympics.
Tell us, in summary, why should life-saving sport be part of Brisbane 2032?
Well, it should be part of 2032 because it's a natural fit. And our lifesavers around the world train and compete to be rescue ready to go and save somebody. They're out there on the front line to save someone's life when they get into trouble in the water. And that's pretty special, that's very unique. So we say we're a sport for purpose. A sport for purpose, a sport for cause. Because we're a humanitarian organisation where sport is so crucial to what we do on the front line.
Life-saving has actually been intrinsically connected to the Olympic Games. So many Olympians have got their start in life-saving sport. Just talk us through the history and the connection.
Well, look, I think one of the things, we've actually been recognised by the IOC since 1994. And we've competed in the World Games since 1985. We compete in the World Masters Games. We're in the Mediterranean Games. We're in the Arabic Games. So regionally, through Europe, through Africa, America, and the Asia Pacific region, we have competition. And that competition is highlighted at the World Championships, which will happen this year on the Gold Coast in August and September. And we'll have about 7,000 to 8,000 lifesavers competing at that World Championships.
I'm going to throw a few names at
Yeah.
you now, but Grant Kenny, Clint Robinson, Kenny Wallace, all proud surf lifesavers, have all gone on to represent Australia at an Olympic Games. How nice would it be to have some of our Olympians actually being able to compete in the sport that they started in?
Well, I think that's really the point about this, is that many of our Olympians have come from surf lifesaving, could not go to the Olympics as lifesavers in lifesaving sport, have gone on to other sports and really excelled. But I think more to the point is that the Youth Championships has been conducted here last weekend. Those young lifesavers will have the opportunity, the aspiration to be in an Olympic sport, and that's what this opportunity will present.
You spoke about the proud history internationally, the World Games being recognised by the IOC, and the World Championships is coming down under later this year. Just how much would it be a game changer for the sport to be included as part of the Olympic Games?
Well, look, I think it's generational. This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to include life-saving sport in the Summer Olympic Games. And you've got to remember, it's just not in Australia. We've got 30 million members around the world, 115 countries. And we expect 50 of them to be competing at the World Championships. And this is a large movement. Since the UN resolution 3 years ago that recognised drowning as a global public health issue, and then the World Health Organisation last year, the momentum behind our drowning prevention, water safety and rescue and life-saving sport has changed. Surf Lifesaving Australia have been behind this push to get into the Summer Olympic Games, and I think the whole movement in Australia is up for a decision which would support us to get into the Games. 200,000 members in Surf Lifesaving Australia. We've seen all the great competitors here over the last couple of days, and this will be a unique opportunity to get into the Olympics and represent them and represent the youth that are coming through.
Surf Lifesaving Australia. Testing, all good.
Do you want me to ask questions, or you know what you
No,
want?
I'll just say some things and then you can just sort of see gaps.
Yeah. All right, JB, you're off.
So this has the potential to be one of the biggest pieces of innovation in our movement's history. It's always been the case that our elite athletes have had to join another sport in order to fulfil an ambition of competing at the Olympics. But if we're successful with the Ocean Man and Ocean Woman, this will allow our elite competitors to stay in their chosen sport and give them a pathway into the Olympics, which will be a game changer for our movement.
JB, you've also, let's talk numbers. Around the country, there's so many, thousands of surf lifesavers, but also thousands of youth competitors. How exciting is it? And talk us through the numbers of the movement.
Oh, it's terrific. We're now the largest volunteer movement in the country. We have close to 200,000 active members, but 80,000 of those are under the age of 18. So we're also the largest youth movement in the country. But a lot of those are competitors, and to give them the opportunity to aspire in their chosen sport to compete in the Olympics, I think would be extraordinary. It'll certainly be a game changer, and I think again allows our best athletes and our best competitors in surf sports to make a pathway all the way to the Olympics.
When you think Australia, you think our beaches. Nothing's more iconic than our beaches, but also our red and yellow volunteer surf lifesavers. It's a natural fit for Brisbane 2032 to have these two iconic locations and organisations come together, right?
Yeah, there's probably nothing more iconic than the Ironman Championship and a surf lifesaving carnival. So for us to have that in arguably the home of surf lifesaving, which is Queensland, to have that event at the 2032 Olympics would be great. And I think the fit would be perfect.
Done.
Come up with something.
Yeah. Names? Riley Fitzsimmons.
Jackson Collins.
Yeah.
Boys flying out tonight to Europe, getting close to Paris now. What is the process like over the next couple of weeks?
Okay. All right, so yeah, we're flying out tonight. We've got a World Cup event in 2 weeks' time, or 3 weeks' time, so all of our prep is gearing up towards having a really good hit out before the games, and that'll be our only chance to get a gauge of how we're at, how we're going and where we're at compared to all the other countries before we line up at the Olympics. So we really want to nail this one chance we've got to get a gauge of how we're going. So it's been pretty intense, our lead-in since Nationals, and everyone's really looking forward to doing some racing.
Riley, your third games, is this one a bit different to the last two?
Yeah, a little bit. It's still approaching it the same, like leaving no stone unturned, giving it my all every single day. It's an exciting time, this last preparation into Paris. It goes super quick. You know, soon enough it'll be September and you'll look back on all this and it'll be a blur. So just really trying to soak in every single day in the process and the journey that we're on all the way to Paris. It's going to be exciting racing the World Cup and seeing where we're at against the rest of the world. And yeah, really looking forward to that World Cup and then knuckling down again for Paris.
Jacko, obviously you've had your pathway into kayaking as an Olympic sport, surf lifesaving announced their bid today for Brisbane 2032. What would that have meant when you were coming through the races at Nipper?
I think it just provides additional opportunities. I think that it'd be really exciting to line up as a young nipper knowing that you could potentially represent your country at an Olympics for the sport you love doing as a young nipper. I think that it's just a really exciting pathway for everyone else. I know for Riley and I that ski event at Surf Life Saving was, our pathway into kayaking, but to open that gateway even further to the rest of Surf Life Saving to be an Olympic sport, I think it's a fantastic thing.
I think it's super magical too, because we, being Surf Life Saving, we love this sport. We want to showcase it to the world, to give, to potentially have that opportunity to go to an Olympic Games and present our sport to the rest of the world is a super exciting prospect, and it's really, really cool.
Southeast Queensland is obviously where you both live. Is there any better location in the world really for surf lifesaving at an Olympics?
No, I don't think so. I think that this whole stretch of coast, all the way from here, Mauritius, all the way south to the Gold Coast, I think it's absolutely beautiful. I think you could run it anywhere in the world, and I don't think you'd find a better spot than this.
And Riley, or both of you really, your partners as surf lifesavers as well, to be at an Olympic Games together, how special would that have been if surf lifesaving was a sport for them too?
Oh, so cool. Both our partners are really professional athletes and they're doing so well in the surf lifesaving sport, and for them to have the opportunity to go to an Olympics would be amazing. Yeah,
I think it'd be a really exciting thing. I think that's the whole thing about Surf Life Saving. A lot of it is so family oriented, and brothers, sisters, parents, everyone races together. There's mixed doubles that you got father and daughters paddling together, and they wouldn't have done it otherwise. But they'll do it because the mixed event is an event. So I think that it brings families together as well. It's really special.
Thank you.
Cool.
Well, yeah, it would be pretty incredible. I definitely will be retired by then, but I would love to see the sport move in that direction. I think it's really tough. We don't have that Olympic dream sort of that we can chase, but I think, Brisbane 2032 would be incredible, especially being in Queensland. It's the hub of surf life saving, I would definitely say, and it would be awesome to see Australia be represented at the Games.
And D-Mac, for you, what does it mean?
Oh, yeah, Georgia nailed it.
But she's a Kiwi.
Yeah, coming from NZ, man, NZ would love to put in a team, and we'd probably go head to head with the Aussies. I think we need to try and get more of the rest of the world racing to get that level of competition up, and it'll be an awesome event.
Thanks, guys.